Hope you guys are all ready for this one. This one's going to be good. Okay. This is going to be an amazing training tonight. Really the basic building blocks of leadership. That's what this training is, right? The basic building blocks of leadership. You guys all know my background. Got started in network marketing 30 years ago. I was 17 years old, was broke, busted, and disgusted, right? And got a chance to be able to get around some wealthy people that taught me the books to read, taught me the discipline, taught me the changes, and they mentored me and helped me become successful financially, and then also become successful in other areas of my life, which is more important than money, right? Teaching me how to be the best father that I can be, teaching me how to be the best husband that I can be, right? Teaching me how to be the best member of my community that I can be. But tonight we're going to talk a lot about money because, that's kind of the thing that most people get started in Riman about, okay? And I like to help people make a lot of money because once people get money out of the way, then they can focus on the things that are truly important, right? Like helping other people, benevolence, making sure other people succeed. And that's really what Leadership 101 is all about. So let's dive into this training, okay? I'm going to share with you 5 rules to leadership, okay? These are rules that you got to follow. The first rule is that leaders are made, not born. Okay, I think there's a misconception that some people got it, some people don't. Okay, that's a major misconception. One of my favorite speakers, I did a training with him a few years back, John C. Maxwell. John C. Maxwell talks about, he was in this town and they were on a tour with his family, and some guy came up to the tour guide and asked, "Is there any great people that were born in this town?" And the tour guide looked at him and said, "No, there's been no great people born in this town, only babies, right?" Meaning what? We all are born as babies, right? Nobody's born as a leader. Nobody comes out of their mom's womb and be like, "I'm a leader." Like, it doesn't work like that. Leaders are made. So let's talk a little bit about what it looks like, okay? There's something that's interesting, how leaders become leaders. There's a study that they did on how leaders become leaders. 10% have kind of natural giftedness, right? That they because of circumstances that they were raised in, they start to develop these natural gifting. That's about 10% have these natural gifts because of environments that they were raised in. 5% is results of a crisis, okay? 5% of the people that became leaders because of a crisis. And 85% had the influence of another leader. So the overwhelming majority of people that become leaders, it's because of their influence of other people. It's because the influence of other people, the influence of being around great people, okay? That's why you want to get, my mentor called it OPE, right? If you're taking notes, OPE, meaning other people's experiences, okay? My mentor said, your life is going to be determined by the people that you're closest to, right? Some people you can be around a few hours, but not a few days. He goes, you have to evaluate. You have to look at the people you're around and ask yourself, what have they got me doing? What have they got me saying? More importantly, what have they got me becoming? Because in life, what you become is more important than anything else. January 2nd, I'm going to be doing a goal setting workshop. I can't wait for that. I'm going to be doing a goal setting workshop January 2nd, where I'm going to be breaking down then to take you guys to a lesson is going to be revolutionary for many of you. Some of you've heard about my goal setting workshops that I've been doing throughout the years. I'm going to break this down a little bit more, but you got to evaluate who you're around, okay? And ask, what am I becoming because of this association? And some people you got to disassociate yourself. Some people you got to limit your association with. Some people you got to expand your association. That's why I always jump on Zooms. That's why I like to get on a Zoom and learn, because I like to get around people that have a voice of value, that know what I want to know, right? That have done what I want to do, that are doing what I want to do. And I learn from them. It's called other people's experience, right? OPE, leveraging from other people. So get around a voice of value, get around your team leaders, get around your directors, spend time with them when they're doing team calls or they're doing leaders. Get on those calls and learn and grow, right? That's so important. Here's what I'll share with you. People can't follow in your footsteps if your feet aren't moving. Woo! I love that one. People cannot follow in your footsteps if your feet aren't moving, okay? We got to get to work, right? We got to get to work and we got to lead by example. Biggest thing is this: don't be a follower, be a student, right? I've heard people say, man, to be a great leader, you got to be a great follower first. And I go, no, you don't. To be a great leader, you got to be a great student, okay? I don't want people to follow me, right? I want people to learn from my experiences because I can save you time. That's what a mentor is. Mentor is when somebody's hindsight, right, can become your foresight, okay? When somebody else's experiences can save you time, that's what a mentor is. Somebody can share with you, hey, don't step over there. There's a landmine there. Don't step over there. There's a landmine there. And that's about navigation, right? That's about being a good leader. But you got to be smart enough to listen. You see that? You got to be smart enough to pay attention. That's why I love network marketing so much, because you have a system. It's not whisper down the lane, right? You can plug in and learn from the top people, get around the people that have that servant heart that want to serve the community. Okay. Number 4, skills makes labor more valuable. Okay. But you can't develop the skills without the labor. So skills are what makes labor more valuable, right? If you develop the skills, the leadership skills, if you develop the leadership skills, it's going to make the work you do more valuable. But you can't develop the leadership skills without doing the work. Okay. So, skills makes labor more valuable, but skills are developed through labor. Okay. So you've got to develop your skills and understand this. Leadership develops daily, not in a day. There's no microwave, right? There's no microwave. You can just pop somebody in and beep, 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 boom, they're a leader, right? You got to develop them. You got to be committed to your team's development. You got to become addicted to growth. See, people go, how do I get my team to, I was talking to somebody the other day and they're like, how do I get my team to learn? I go, well, let me ask you a question. What book are you reading? What program are you studying? What are you studying right now? If you're not studying and you're not learning, your team's not going to learn, right? They're going to be a direct reflection of you. If you're not coachable, your team won't be coachable, right? If you're not learning and growing, your team won't be growing. So you got, as a leader, and some of you are like, well, I don't want to be a leader. Well, you're going to be a leader just by doing the work, right? How do you influence other people? How do you lead other people? Best way to lead is by example, right? By leading by example. But you've got to be addicted to growth, right? Number 6 is obviously this. It takes a leader to raise a leader. So if you want to develop leaders in your organization, you want to raise up other leaders, you got to raise up yourself, okay? You got to raise up as yourself. If you're standing in line, right, trying to be a quiet member of the association and just stand in line, you're missing the boat, okay? Step up, step out. We're going to talk about it here in a second, okay? I love this. Leaders live in a fishbowl, right? Leaders live in a fishbowl. Here's some reminders. There's 2 types of leaders. I like to say, listen to me carefully, but don't watch me too close, versus listen to me carefully, but watch me even closer. You see that? I'm not trying to tell you what to do, right? Because to me, it doesn't matter what you do. I want you to be successful. I want you to win. I want you to become wealthy with us. But if you don't choose to do that, that's okay with me too, right? Meaning that I'm not going to force somebody. I'm not going to, hit the ball and drag somebody. Why? Why am I going to do that? Because I don't need to pull out my back trying to drag somebody. You want to learn how to do it, watch what I do. Listen to me carefully, watch what I do. And then you can take what I'm doing and you can put your own spin on it, but it's not that hard, guys. I'm not doing that much, okay? I'm just working hard at sharing with people how to get started, how to go senior manager, how to get started, how to go senior manager, okay? And developing people. So becoming a leader, become the leader you want to attract. If you want to attract a positive person, you got to be positive, right? It's called the law of magnetism, right? You're going to attract what you are, not what you want. So become the leader that you want to attract. Leadership and learning are indispensable, right? Leadership and learning are indispensable. And they're inseparable. You know what I mean? Like it says inseparable. That's really what it is. But you can't have leadership without learning, okay? If you've got a leader that's not learning, I'll tell you, you don't have a leader. Because a leader's always learning. Because that's how the only way you can navigate is to pay attention, okay? You got to pay attention. Number 4 is what? People will be afraid not to follow you when they know that you know where you're going, right? When you're going somewhere and you're after it, people are going to be like, I want to go along for the journey. But you've got to decide that you're going somewhere, okay? If you got to set the pace and set the tone. If you set the pace and set the tone, people are going to go, well, let's go, right? They're going to jump on board, but you got to go. Remember, if your feet aren't moving, people can't follow in your footsteps, okay? But people will be afraid not to get started, right? People will be afraid not to join you on this journey when they know that you know where you're going. Where are you going? Right? Going team leader by convention, right? Going director by convention, going senior director by convention, going national director by convention. Where are you going? You got to be running, okay? You got to be running. Lead by example so you can judge by results, okay? Always lead by example so you can judge by results. But if you don't lead by example, you can't judge by results, right? Because you're not setting the pace. People are following if you lead by example, you don't have to apologize for your success. And if you're not leading by example, guess what? You can't apologize for your success. You don't have to apologize for your success, but you also can't make an excuse. I'm going to talk about consistently being consistent, but that's how you win, right? Let's go. 97% of the people are motivated by fear of loss. 3% are motivated by hope of gain. So you want to have a backbone, not a wishbone. Don't beg people to come along this journey with you, right? Have that catch me if you can attitude. I'm running. See ya. And when you set the pace and set the tone, you're gonna be a backbone for other people. They're gonna be like, wow, look at the way that they're operating. I gotta do it too. Okay. So let's talk about this. Trust is the foundation of leadership. This is rule number 2. Trust is what? The foundation of leadership. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about what I'm talking about. I love this one. DWISYWD. DWISYWD, right? Do what you say you're going to do. Look, I'm not going to believe in the message if I don't believe in the messenger. Okay. And you got to have integrity, right? Integrity is having a clear correspondence between your words and your actions. Words and your actions. Like some of you guys work with me more than others, but if I tell you I'm going to be somewhere and I'm not there, call the cops, call the hospital, you know what I mean? Like, no matter what, if I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it or I'm going to die trying. That's got to be the mindset, right? You got to be a solid leader and have integrity. When you say you're going to do something, do it. Have integrity with others, but more importantly, guess what? Have integrity with yourself. Got to have integrity with yourself, right? Self-integrity. Let's talk about this. This is what I love, the leadership house, okay? Some of you heard me train on this before. To build trust, to build trust, a leader must exemplify competence. You got to be competent, okay? You got to be competent, okay? You got to have competence. You got to know what you're doing, right? Somebody might be like, man, I trust you 100%. Like, I trust my wife more than 100%, right? I trust my wife 1,000%. And I love her and I trust her, but I wouldn't let her do open heart surgery on me, right? Not because I don't trust her as a person. I just don't trust her as a doctor. So you got to have competence. That's why it's so important to jump on trainings. Connection. You got to connect with people. And character. You got to be that type of person, right? You got to be the type of person that people want to emulate, okay? So admit, and when you make a mistake, admit it quickly, okay? And always, but always put your team and Riman ahead of your own personal agenda. You understand? Riman and the people that are on your team, their success is more important than your own success. Okay? Why do I say that? Number one, the goose that lays the golden egg is Riman, right? Riman is the most important thing in this company, right? Making sure that Riman is successful. Number 2 is your team, the people that trust you, right? Why if you make sure they're taken care of, you'll be taken care of, right? And that's where trust comes in. You go to war for your team. You go to battle for your team, man. And I'm going to share with you the difference between a character-driven person and an emotional-driven person, right? A character-driven person, they do right, then they feel good. An emotional person feels good and then does right. Jerry West once said, you'll never accomplish much if you only work on the days that you feel like it, right? Character-driven people are commitment-driven. Emotion-driven people are convenience-driven. Character-driven people make principle-based decisions. Emotional-driven people, they make popular-based decisions. Character-driven people, their action controls their attitude. Emotional-driven people, their attitude controls their action. Character-driven people believe it, then they see it. Emotional-driven people, they see it, then they believe it. Character-driven people, they create momentum. Emotional-driven people wait for momentum. Okay? Character-driven people ask, what are my responsibilities? Emotional-driven people ask, what are my rights? Character-driven people say, hey, I'm going to continue no matter what. When problems arise, character-driven people continue no matter what. Emotional-driven people quit when problems arise. Character-driven people are steady. They keep on keeping on, baby. They keep on keeping on. And emotional-driven people are moody. Character-driven people are leaders. Emotional-driven people are followers. Make sure you're a character-driven person. You wouldn't be on this call if you weren't. Let's talk about leadership rule number 3. Leadership is influence. Okay? Influence. One way, obviously the most important way to influence somebody is what? By your actions. Okay? What you do, right? What you do, not what you say. If you're leading by example, you just tell people what you're doing and why you're doing it. Okay? It's so simple. And best example of leadership, and I want to point this out, is Princess Diana. Okay? Some of you guys remember her. In 1981, Princess Diana became the most talked about person on the globe, right? Nearly 1 billion people watched her televised wedding at St. Paul's Cathedral. And she quickly started serving people, right? She quickly started serving people and growing her influence. And what her reputation was the people's princess because of all the humanitarian work that she did. Okay? Now watch this. In August 28th of 1996, her divorce was final. She lost her title. She's no longer the princess, but her influence continued to increase. Understand that leadership is not title, it's influence. Okay. Now, about a year later, in 1997, we all know that it was a terrible car accident, right? And she passed away in France. Okay. September 6th, guess what? In September 6th, she was buried. Okay. God rest her soul. And it was a public funeral, right, at Westminster Abbey. It drew about 3 million mourners. 3 million people came to mourn and look in London. And over 2.5 billion people watched on television. 2.5 billion. That's incredible. That's incredible. That's influence. That's influence. Didn't matter whether she was the princess or not. Her influence was there. So realize, how do you influence? By serving. You got to have a servant heart. You got to lead by example. You got to be consistently consistent. Let's talk a little bit about influence, okay? There's 5 levels of leadership, right? A lot of you know this. You've studied this book before by John C. Maxwell. You got the position level where that's just rights. People have to follow you, right? Because they don't have a choice. Then you got the permission level. Well, people follow you because of relationships. Because they want to, right? They want to listen to you. They want to learn from you. Then you got production, because the results that you get, right? People that pay attention to your leadership, they get results. People will pay attention and they'll learn from you because of what you've done for the organization. The reproduction one, people development, right? This is where you want to be. People development, man, reproduction, right? People listen and learn from you because of what you've done for them. Growing people. That's how you grow your business. But you got to be growing yourself. And then obviously the pinnacle is respect, right? People follow because of what you represent, of who you are. And that one we may or may not ever get to that, right? I mean, there are very few people up there. But people development, if we commit to developing people, we can reach a pretty high level of influence. Let's talk a little bit about, right? To effectively influence, right, you must connect. And here's what I want you to know. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Show them how much you care. Show them. Give them your undivided attention, right? Pay attention to them. Find out what their why is. Find out what motivates them, what moves them. Okay. Number 2 is you can get all that you want if you just help enough other people get what they want, right? You can have everything in life that you want if you just help enough people get what they want. Focus in on other people's success and your success is guaranteed. Okay. Here's what I want to share with you. Lead with love. I like that one. Lead with love. Okay. But the key is when you lead with love, guess what? You don't necessarily have to tell people what they want to hear, though. You can tell them what they need to hear. You can love somebody and tell them, hey, look, you know what? I love you. But hey, if I did that, I wouldn't get any results. Okay. The reason why I'm getting the results that I do is because I do it this way. Okay. So you don't just tell people what they want to hear and be, oh my God, that's great. That's great. That's great. If somebody is going down a road that you love, that you care about, they're driving down a road and you know the bridge is out, you don't want to tell them to speed up. Okay. You don't want to tell them to speed up. So care about people enough to have a backbone and lead them. Okay. Next thing is this: people may quit a business, but they won't quit on a family. So develop that family, right? And I spelled leadership wrong. Jesus. Oh my God. Look at this. Every slide, there's always a slide I spell every word wrong. I need to get that thing where it gives you the squiggly line, right? When I spell one wrong, but I like doing it because it lets you know, hey, this guy, he isn't that smart, right? So here it is. People quit on a business, but won't quit on a family. Reach out and connect with your newest team members, okay? Your lifeblood is your new people, okay? And getting them running for senior manager. When new people come into your organization, that's the most important people to connect with, okay? Let's talk a little bit about what I'm talking about, okay? You want to lock arms mentally with your new people. Mentally lock arms and become business partners up with them, okay? When new people get started, you want to become business partners with them. Let's talk about it, okay? When you log into your back office, the most important number that you need to click on is the new planners that have just signed up, okay? This is the most important, right? Whenever you log in, you need to know who are the new planners that have came in this month. That number, those people, who are they? Okay? Who are they? What's their why? What's their why? Why are they doing Riman? What do they want to get out of this? What's their target date for senior manager? When is going to be their first pop-up, or when's going to be their first post, or however you build. What I'm telling you is you've got to connect and run with that number. When you log into your back office, you can click on that number. The underline, you see how it's underlined? You click on it and those names will come up. And if you see somebody's name on there that you don't know, right, what do? Click on their ID number. Very simple. And then look at who their line of sponsor is, okay? Look at their line and look at who is their sponsor up the tree. And you'll find out who their sponsor is and make sure that that person is being taken care of. Get connected with them. People are like, well, can I get their phone numbers? I want their phone numbers. Relax. What you need to do is call their sponsor. Call their upline team leader, right? If you're the upline team leader, find out who sponsored them, okay? And let's connect with them. You got to care enough about people to go out there and reach out and look for them, right? You got to care enough to find out who they are and get connected with them, okay? And you really want to teach in your organization what? Somebody gets started, bam, what happens, right? First thing that happens is what? Boom, welcome call. Get me on the phone with right when somebody gets started, use the upline team leader. Team leaders make the money, right? If you have a team leader in your upline, find out who they are. If you're my upline team leader and I get started, hey, I'm putting you to work. I'm putting you to work. Well, I'm doing every welcome call right away with you. And if somebody gets started, boom, right away, we're doing a welcome call right when somebody signs up. My whole organization is doing welcome calls with you. And then we're going to set up a game plan right away. We're going to set up a game plan and get in with my new person and my upline team leader. And I'm promote my upline team leader. Let's go, right? I mean, it's super simple. So leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. Week number 1, if you're the upline leader developing somebody, you do 100%. The new person you're developing, they watch and listen, okay? Week number 2, you're going to do 80, they're going to do 20, right? Week number 3, guess what? You're doing 20, they're doing 80. Week number 4, you're going to watch and admire them, and they're going to do 100%. So when I get somebody started, I'm like, look, week number 1, I'm doing 100%. You're going to watch. Now, if you put me in front of 3 people, you're going to watch me do 3 presentations. You put me in front of 10 people, you're going to watch me do 10 presentations. But whatever you want me to do, it's up to you. But if you want to learn how to do this presentation, I would encourage you to put me in front of as many people as possible the first week. Okay, I would rearrange your schedule and put me in front of some people. Okay, that's the type of attitude, and that's the type of forward-leaning motion as a leader, backbone that I got. That's the backbone that I got, right? You want to have that backbone, okay? So rule number 4, let's talk about it. Be a leader that develops leaders. I love this one. This is going to be good. Get ready. This is going to be one of my favorites, okay? Leaders that develop leaders. You want to be a leader that develops leaders. Let's talk a little bit about what that looks like, okay? Leaders that develop leaders, they multiply their growth. Leaders that develop followers, they basically add one at a time. You're looking for leaders. You're looking to develop leaders. You're looking to grow leaders. Let's talk about what that looks like. If you grow a leader, your organization is going to grow like wildfire. But if you're just adding one at a time, be a leader that develops leaders. Be a leader that develops leaders. You'll multiply your growth. Let's talk about what that looks like. This is from the book, John C. Maxwell's book. This is the OG original. You probably can't even get this. This is the old school version, the original 21 Laws. I got both books. But this is where this came from. Law number 20, obviously my favorite law of explosive growth. We could get into John C. Maxwell book all day long and talk about what we learned from that. I mean, that book is one of my favorites of all time. But this is directly from that book. He says, leaders that grow by addition, right? Leaders that develop followers, they need to be needed. Leaders that multiplication, right? Leaders that develop leaders, they want to be succeeded, right? I don't want somebody needing me. Now, I love to serve. Don't get me wrong. I love to serve, but I want people to go out and serve on their own. It's not a sprint. It's not a marathon. It's a relay race, right? I'm going to run my race, pass the baton to you, and I'm going to encourage you, right? You got to believe in people. If you see somebody for what they are, they become worse. If you see them for what they could be, they'll become what they should be, right? So be a good finder, not a fault finder. Why do I say that? Because leaders that develop followers, they focus on weaknesses of their team, what they don't like. When I talk to somebody, they're like, you know what? I don't like this. I don't like that. I don't like this. I'm like, oh my God, you are a leader that develops followers. That's what I know in my mind. When I talk to somebody, I'm like, tell me about your team. And they're like, oh, I love this about this person. I love this about this. I know they're a leader that develops leaders because they focus on their team's strengths. Okay. You're either a good finder or a fault finder, right? A fault finder looks for fault like there's a reward for it. Okay. I'm telling you what, be a good finder. Okay. Here's what I'll share with you. Leaders that develop followers, they develop the bottom 20%. Leaders that develop leaders, they develop the top 20%, right? They focus in on the top 20%. Why? Why do they focus on the top 20%? They don't need to help, right? The bottom 20 does. Wrong. the top 20, you take them to another level, they're going to develop another group. They're going to develop that next group, okay? Work individually with your top people. Work collectively with everybody else. And tell people, if you hit this position or you do this or you do that, I'll work with you individually, okay? You've got to have a backbone, not a wishbone, okay? If leaders are about followers, they treat people fair, like us the same. We got to be fair. We got to treat everybody the same. Leaders that develop leaders, they treat leaders as individuals for an impact, right? Leaders that develop followers, they hoard the power. Leaders that develop leaders, they give the power away, right? They encourage people to go and grow and do it, okay? Leaders that develop followers, they spend time with others. Leaders that develop leaders invest time with others. Leaders that develop followers, they grow by addition. Leaders that develop leaders, they grow by multiplication. Leaders that develop followers impact only the people they touch personally. Leaders that develop leaders impact people far beyond their own reach. Can you imagine looking at your report and seeing people becoming a director in your organization you've never met? Okay? You never met. The only way to do that is by being a leader that develops leaders. When I look at the report of all the team leaders last month, I'm like, oh my goodness, how many of these people have I ever met? You know, and the reason being is because I don't do anything other than develop other leaders, right? I'm looking to develop leaders. I'm not looking for people that are just going to be anything other. You want to develop leaders, right? And I'm going to talk about how to do that. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about insecure leaders because they struggle with this, okay? Common trait number one of insecure leaders, they don't provide security to others, right? You cannot give what you don't have, okay? Just like people without a skill can't impart that skill on somebody else, people without security can't, guess what? Make other people feel secure. And for the person to become an effective leader, the kind of leader others want to be led by, guess what? You must make your team feel good about themselves. You got to inject people with confidence. And how do you do that? You've got to have confidence. If you have belief and you know that you're going to be successful and you have 100% faith and 100% belief, the results are going to show up. Other people are they're going to feel that strength and it's going to empower them as well. Common trait number two of insecure leaders. They take more from people than they give, okay? Insecure people are in a continuous quest for validation and acknowledgement and love, okay? Because of that, their focus is on finding security, not instilling it in others, not injecting other people, right, with security. They're primarily takers rather than givers. And takers don't make for good leaders. You don't want to be the battery, you want to be the charger. Right? You don't get on these calls because you're weak. You get on these calls to remain strong. I don't do personal growth and development every single day because I'm weak. I do it to remain strong. I'm always trying to better my best. I'm always trying to sharpen my axe. I don't want my axe to get dull. You got to be a secure leader. You got to have confidence. You got to know you're going to win. This is a big one, right? Common trait number three of insecure leaders. They continually limit their best people. They continually limit their best people. Show me an insecure leader and I'll show you someone who cannot genuinely celebrate their people's victories. They might even prevent them from realizing their victories. Or this type of leader might take credit personally for the best work of their team. Only secure leaders give the power to others. And insecure leaders, they hoard the power. In fact, the better their people are, the more threatened they feel. And the harder that the leader will work to limit their success and recognition. You want to be so busy giving out recognition that you don't need any, right? Recognition is like perfume or cologne. You can't spray it on somebody else and not smell better, right? You understand? You want to be the spotlight, not need the spotlight. You want to be the king or queen maker, not the king or queen, okay? You're trying to work yourself out of a job. My mentor told me very early on, don't do anything, Tim, unless you're teaching somebody else how to do it. Don't do anything for somebody else unless you're teaching somebody else how to do it, okay? You've got to mentor people. You've got to teach them how to be able to do it. You want to be succeeded, not needed. Last one, you'll love this one, okay? Common trait number 4 of insecure leaders. They continually limit their organization. They don't just limit their top people, they limit the entire organization. When a team's members are undermined and receive no recognition, they become discouraged and eventually stop performing at their potential. And when that happens, the entire organization suffers. See, insecure leaders to me are what I call flea trainers. See, a flea trainer, you can take a flea off a dog and you put it in a mason jar and you screw that mason jar and what that flea will do. Usually a flea can jump about this high, but that mason jar is this, so it'll start jumping and it'll whack its head and it'll whack its head. And then the flea's jumping, bam, and it's like, bam, and it's like, bam, and it's like, dang, that hurts. Every time that flea jumps, it hits its head on that lid and it goes, dang, it hurts. Dang, it hurts. And after about 24 hours of banging its head on that lid, banging his head on that lid, what happens? That flea won't jump as high. Oh, and they're like, ooh, that feels good. That doesn't hurt. There we go. So that flea jumps as high. And you can actually take the lid off that jar and that flea won't jump out. You say, well, there's no lid. Why doesn't it jump out? Because it can't jump out. Because it's been conditioned to believe it can't go any higher. That's how most people lead leaders. You got to be a lid lifter. You got to take that lid off. And you got to put a little fire under there, right? A little match under that, and that little sucker will jump out. You understand? You got to light a fire under your people. Because most people have been beaten up, and they failed and failed and failed, and they believe, oh, I'm not going to try as hard. And if they just tried one more time, they'd be able to jump out of that mason jar. So you got to realize that's how insecure leaders teach people. They teach people like a flea trainer, okay? So let's talk about rule number 5, prioritize or agonize. Get ready for this. You're going to love it. We're going to kick this thing. We're going to be, we're going to get done early. Okay, here we go. Prioritize or agonize. 80%, this is prioritize or agonize. Last rule. Okay, this is 101, basics. Okay, basic stuff. I didn't get into any advanced stuff. We'll do that once we get you to director. Here's what I'll share with you. 80% of your activity brings you 20% of your results. And 20% of your activity brings you 80% of your results. Woo! So what activity is going to give you the best return? This is called the Pareto principle, okay? This guy was like, he figured it out. You want to spend your time. Once you find out what that 20% of your activity is that gives you 80% of your results, focus your time there. And I'll tell you what it is, okay? That's the good news. I know, okay? Where to get the big results from. Most people do tension relieving activities, not goal achieving activities, okay? You want to do goal achieving activities, not tension relieving activities. You want to prioritize or you're going to agonize. Let's talk about what that looks like, okay? When it comes to developing leaders. We all know you want to be 10 wide. I talk about it every day, talk about it nonstop. I'm a broken record, and I'm not going to ever stop talking about it. Why? Because I want to see people succeed. If I've got 3 senior managers, right, and you got 10 senior managers wide, and I got 3, you're going to win. Why? Because if I only got 3, those 3 people know that I need them. And if I need them, I can't lead them, right? I can't lead them if I need them. But if I got 10, everybody's FOMO'd, right? Fear of missing out. They're running. They want to be one of the big dogs. They want to be one of my leaders because they see that we're making it happen no matter what. You got to build a strong front line, okay? Build wide for profitability. You build depth for stability, okay? This is the solid team leader foundation, okay? This is what we've discovered, okay? This is how the big money's made. Team leaders that have 10 senior managers wide, they make the big bucks and they become directors. Team leaders that are 3 wide, they struggle. They struggle, okay? Because their organization's not motivated and they're duplicating what they're doing. When we went 10 wide, guess what our leaders did? They all went 10 wide. That's how we were able to do what? Hit national director 6 months. We went 10 wide, taught them to go 10 wide. Everybody blew up and made a lot of money. Never make your minimums your maximums. Yeah, it takes 3 senior managers to hit the position of team leader, but once you have 10, you're going to make the big bucks. Are you looking for a team leader pin or are you looking for a team leader giant paycheck? Okay, let's get wealthy here, okay? So that's our priority. So how do you create a senior manager? We all know 6,000 personal SP or 6,000 between you and your first level planners, right? No more than 3,000 can come from one recruit. Anything you buy, anything you sell counts. Anything they buy or anything they sell counts. Okay, say it again. 6,000 SP from anything that you buy or sell and your frontliners, whatever they buy or sell. Okay, once that hits 6,000, you're a senior manager. Okay, anything they buy, anything they sell, that all counts. You can only count 3,000 for one recruit. We all know that, okay? So let's talk about it, okay? When you first start Riman, 80% of your time is recruiting new planners and 20% is developing new, your people, okay? When you first start. And once you got 10 wide senior managers, now 80% of your time is developing new senior managers and 20% is you're recruiting new planners. You're always recruiting new planners. Why? Because you're always building new lines of business so your team can follow what you're doing. They can learn from your example. You want to set the example. But once you have 10 legs of senior managers, now you want to be just developing senior managers everywhere, okay? So you want to realize no matter what, we're always focusing in on 80% of the time is recruiting. And next Friday, Chris Kim's doing that special training on recruiting. It's going to be next level. He's the best recruiter there ever was built. I mean, this guy's unbelievable. 80% is recruiting. 20% is developing new senior managers. Okay. And once you get your 10 wide, then it shifts. 80% of your time is developing new senior managers, making sure they're getting launched properly, making sure that they're having success, making sure that we're getting. So when somebody joins, what are you doing? Let's talk about it. Okay. Let's talk about what this looks like. Are you a tour guide? Or are you a travel agent? Okay. Are you a travel agent leader? Or are you a tour guide? A tour guide's going to grab you by the hand, man. They're going to show you everything. A travel agent's going to sell you some tickets and say, I hope you have fun. Okay. You want to be a tour guide leader, not you understand, not a travel agent. You want to be a tour guide, not a travel agent. What does that mean? When somebody gets started, here's what I want to share with you. Okay. Do you want to be consistently consistent? Or do you want to be consistently inconsistent? Okay. And that says inconsistently. I understand. Okay. I just made this training a couple hours ago. You want to be consistently consistent or consistently inconsistent? Okay. What is it? Think about it. You want to be consistently consistent or consistently inconsistent? Okay. So you want to realize, what is your method of operation? What is your method of operation on your team? What happens when a new planner signs up? First thing immediately that happens in the organization, the new teams that I'm building, right? When I'm building a new organization, somebody gets started, immediately I get a welcome call. Hey, I want to welcome you, Tim. I want to welcome, do me a favor. I want to welcome, Janet to the team or whatever. And I'm like, Janet, welcome to the team. Man, we're excited to be working with you. The person you're working with, whoever, I'm like, man, they're the best. They're on fire right now. They're growing. They're doing it. They're going to be big time with us. Okay. We know, right? They're going to make it happen. You're working with the right people, right? You're working with the best sponsor. Okay. Now, what I want to do with you is in the next 24 to 48 hours, let's set up a game plan. Okay. I want to set up a game plan with you. Okay. I want to set up a game plan for you so we can get you to senior manager ASAP. And guess what? Get you on your way to making big money with Riman. Okay. Get you on your way to becoming a team leader. When can we get together in the next 24 to 40 hours? I book that time. Get on a Zoom with them. Right. And guess what? Or if they're local, I'll meet with them at the office or whatever. What am I doing? I'm getting them to understand what senior manager is and why it's important. Okay. And then I'm going to lay out a game plan for them to hit senior manager right away. Okay. And we're going to work with them to get them senior manager ASAP. But that's what a game plan call is with your team leader. Some people, I've called them, not just game plan calls, connection calls, because you're connecting and game planning with them. It doesn't matter necessarily schematically what you call it. What matters is that you do it. Okay. Get somebody started, immediately a welcome call with a team leader. You understand your team leader, whoever your upline team leaders, you need to know. Why? Because they make the big bucks. Okay. They make a lot of money on your success. So put them to work. Okay. That's what I tell, when I got started, it's like, look, man, I'm going to put you on the phone with a lot of people, man. Okay. I'm putting you on the phone with a lot of people. I'm going to have a lot of people getting started. When I get these people started, I need you to do a welcome call for me. Okay. You want to be doing welcome calls to your upline team leader, schedule 24 to 48 hours, a game plan session with the team leader, and get them to senior manager so that we can get you to team leader before convention. Okay. Realize excitement and time. Somebody gets started. We do a welcome call right away. Boom, right away. And a game plan with a team leader. Now they're fired up. We get them launched, right? We get in front of their prospects at a pop-up, get them going, right? Fast, right? And then guess what? Boom, I'm a senior manager right away. Then they get more excited, right? They become a team leader. Look at this guy. He's fired up. Did it. Now, what happens if you don't do a welcome call with your upline team leader and you don't game plan with your team leader? You get started. We don't do a game plan. Guess what happens? Boom. Excitement's lost. No Zoom, no launch. They're in the toilet. See you later. You've got to make sure the most important people in your organization are the new people getting started. When somebody gets started in your team, they are the lifeblood of your organization. They are the future team leaders and directors and the big time players in your team. We've got to grab them and help them become successful right away. Now, let's leverage impending events, right? You guys know about 90-day run to convention, okay? Right now in December, we're at the beginning of December. 90-day run to convention, okay? 90-day run to convention. What else is happening right now? This has never been done before. People that join in December by convention, if they hit team leader, they make what? $2,500, okay? So we're getting everybody started this month and sneaking their friends in as well. Why? We're getting their 3 people started now. Their 5 people started now, this month, so they can all hit the $2,500 bonus together. You want to build a big organization fast? Get people started now, man. The urgency's over. Everybody right now is recruiting like crazy, man. The urgency, I've never seen signups like this. Urgency's over the top right now. Everybody's recruiting everybody right now because they want to get them started this month, right now, so those people can start getting their team started too this month. And then everybody that gets started in the month, this will not be here in January. Okay, this promotion will not be here in January, I guarantee you. Okay, sometimes we'll have a back-to-back promotion. This one doesn't last in January. You understand? This is the time to run. Anybody get started in December, they got 25,000 reasons to get started now. Okay, don't let this moment in time slip your fingertips. Now, why do I say September, October, November, December, January, February? Why does it have all 6 months? If you're running for what? Director, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, all combined. Whatever you did in September, October, November, December, January, and February, all that volume gets to count for your 6 months. Now, if you're running for team leader, October, November, December, January, February, that's your 5 months. You understand? It's a 5-month rolling process to get your volume. Now, how do you get your volume? Create senior managers. You understand? Create senior managers. I was doing some math this morning with somebody that's running for director. I was on a call with our top senior director, Brianna Michael, and one of her girls that's running right now. And we did the calculation. How much volume have you done throughout your career in Riman? How many senior managers you have? Divided those numbers. I found out how much volume every senior manager equates for. Okay. And I can promise you, if you want to do 50,000 in volume, it's going to take you about 5 senior managers. Okay. It's going to take you about 5 senior managers. Now, it could be more, could be less, depending on how people are getting started. But if you want to create 5 senior managers, pretty much almost dang near every time it equates to being what? 50,000 in volume. Okay. If you want to do what? 600,000 in volume, same math. You understand? Same math. About 60. 60 is going to get you about that number. Okay. So you realize every time you create a senior manager, you're going to get about 10,000 in total volume on average. Right. Why? It's only 6,000, Tim. Yeah, but they're not going to build just that. Somebody's going to have another person here, another person there, another person there. So you realize some people are going to go above and beyond, right? They're going to get more customers. It's going to work itself out like that. So develop senior managers to crush your volume. Don't worry about getting the big volume. Don't worry about what it takes to get a team leader. Just focus on developing senior managers at a rapid rate. And that's what's going to get you to the February convention, walking across that stage as a team leader, walking across that stage as a what? Right, director. So let's talk about it. Let's go right now. Let's make it happen, okay? Call to action. Get every planner in now so they can start during December with this leadership promotion, but get them started the right way. Make sure they get a package. Don't just get them in because they're not going to get the bonus. You understand? They're not going to be successful. You're going to get them started. You got to help them get a starter set, right? Multiple ones if you want to help them become wealthy fast. Now, number 2 is what? Take advantage of the Gift and Glow promotion. The Gift of Glow promo is happening right now all the way to what? Wednesday, midnight. That thing ends. Okay. Get all those customers in now. That's going to be big. Qualified for Costa Rica right now. Let's get qualified for the Costa Rica trip. Everybody's doing it. Create at least one senior manager this week. Make a decision. You're going to make a senior manager this week. Okay. You got to decide right now. Okay. That you're going for it. We got an overview happening on Monday night. You want to make sure you take advantage of it. Make a commitment in your mind and make a commitment in your heart that says, I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to get the job done. I'm going to step up. I'm going to win big. You got to have that attitude that says, this is my time, right? This is my chance to do something great. This is my chance. This is my chance to win big. I'm going all out, right? I'm going to make it happen. I got what it takes. You got to realize, hey, you got to be thinking right now, I got what it takes. I got what it takes to win. All we got to do is do what? Bottom line, find a wrinkle. Find a wrinkle. I promise you, you can do it. You can make it happen. Everybody knows somebody with a wrinkle. Everybody knows somebody that has skin. All we got to do is start sharing like never before. People right now are looking for a chance. They're looking for a change. They're looking for a way. Everybody wants to win big. Everybody wants to be a success. You've got what it takes. But you got to decide right now that I'm going to make it happen, man. I'm going to step up. I'm going to get out of line. Over, under, or through, I'm going to win. I'm going to win big. This is my time. Hey, this is my chance. I'm going to the top of the mountain. You got to be thinking, I'm going to the top of the mountain. Somebody said it's too rocky. They said it's too steep. They said, Tim, it's never been climbed before. Hey, guess what? You got to be thinking, this is my mountain and I'm going to climb it. You're going to see me waving from the top, or you're going to see me dead on the side. But I promise you this, I'm going. When you have that type of commitment, people know, guess what? I want to get in with you. I can sense that you're up to something. See, you got to ask yourself right now, what does you on fire look like? What does you on fire look like? What does you on a mission look like? What does you, when you have an eye gaze that says, I'm up to something, what does that look like? You got to be that version of you. That's how you want to live your life. You want to live your life on fire, excited every day. Every moment is a miracle. This is it, man. This is our time to do something great. This is our time to do something special. This is our time to make a commitment in our mind and our heart that we're going to win big. So let's lock arms today. Let's lock arms now. Next Friday, Chris Kim's going to be making it happen with the master, how to master recruiting. That training will just blow you away. He's the best recruiter I've ever met. He's right now in Japan recruiting everybody. The guy's on fire. He's going to be doing the best training. I'm so glad everybody's been begging him for this. You're going to love it. Let's go all out massive action this week. Let's step up. Let's make a commitment. Let's lock arms, and let's make sure that everybody becomes a success. Thank you so much for your time. God bless you guys. Let's have a great weekend, and let's get everybody to the senior manager right now. Thanks, everybody.